Shabbat Shalom. Our scripture reading for today is Revelations chapter 1, verses 1 and 2. The revelation of Yahshua the Mashiach, which Elohim gave unto him, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John, who bear record of the word of Elohim, and of the testimony of Yahshua the Mashiach, and of all things that he saw.
Shabbat Shalom, family. Our selection today, John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator wrote the book of the seven seals.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator wrote the book of the seven seals.
You know Yah came down in the cool of a day. He called John Adam by his name, but he refused to answer, 'cause he was naked and ashamed. Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator wrote the book of the seven seals.
Joshua called on the 12 apostles, and he led 3 away from them. He said, watch with me for 1 hour until I go yonder and pray. Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator wrote the book of the seven seals.
Joshua rose on the first day, and Mary and Martha came down to see. He said, go tell my disciples to meet me in Galilee. Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator wrote the book of the seven seals.
You know Yah came down in the cool of a day. He called on Adam by his name, but he refused to answer, 'cause he was naked and ashamed. Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator wrote the book of the seven seals.
Joshua called on the 12 apostles, and he led 3 away from them. He said, watch with me for 1 hour until I go yonder and pray. Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator wrote the book of the seven seals.
Joshua rose on the first day, and Mary and Martha came down to see. He said, go tell my disciples to meet me in Galilee. Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the Revelator.
Tell me who is that riding?
John the seven seals.
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication, and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as become saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come into him and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat Shalom.
which is peace on the Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Having and understanding the word presents a different set of scenarios that we have to deal with as we begin to read the things that are written in this legacy that Yahweh has left unto us. We come across these things. We come across where Yahweh is going to go and gather all of his scattered children, where he's going to set up a righteous kingdom. He's going to do these things. What ends up happening, though, is we get focused on the end. So then we're trying to hurry the end up without going through the process. And the process is where you're going to earn your seat. You can't just get to the end. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get to the end so that we can live in our own land, that we can enjoy all of these things. What we don't understand is you're earning your spot for that right now. So while we're trying to rush to get to that, you may be rushing for a thing that you are not prepared for. It says, woe to him that desires the day of the Adonai. For that day is a gloomy day. Although one part of our mind says we're ready for this judgment to come upon this earth. Do you understand what all that's going to do and what all that's going to present for us? All of the comfort zones that we're in, they're going to be gone. All the things that we that we've stashed up money for. Money only works when money is good. When money is not good, all the money that we have stacked up doesn't do us any good. We got a bunch of papers. And it's those things that we are not considering when we go through these processes. We want the process to hurry up and be over. We don't want to sit in any uncomfortable position, but it is the uncomfortable spots that prepare you for the things that are going to be coming down the road. And that's something that we have to deal with. And today's sermon is entitled The Patience of the Spirit. Now, from the beginning of our nation, we have always had a problem with patience. After being brought out of Egypt with great signs and wonders that we beheld with our own eyes, we still revolted at the smallest delay of Moshe. As it is written, and when the people saw that Moshe delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, Up, make us gods, which shall go before us. For as for this Moshe, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we know not what has become of him. So at the smallest delay, we have now put forth a movement and action that is going to get us in the deepest trouble. But it's that thing that happens that everyone has to learn, themselves. When that anxiety feeling kicks in and you feel like you need to make a move, you got to figure out what to do. A lot of y'all watch my elder. Some of y'all came, up watching his sermons. Some people watched his sermons and was watching us at the same time and was saying, hey, man, there's something going on here. There's something. They didn't know that was my teacher. You got to understand, people are watching these videos from 5, 6, 7 states over, okay? They don't know that the old man taught me. They then realized, oh, that was your teacher? I was trying to figure out how I was feeling similarities there, but there's certain things that you don't get from a class. If you watch the beginning of Elder Yaakov class, he had a pen, and the pen sit right there, and then he moved the pen right here, and then he moved the pen right there. The pen is to get rid of that anxiety feeling. You take that negative energy and you transfer it to something else. Now, how I know this? Because he's back there explaining this to me in his office. See, this didn't come from a class. So you might have seen 50 classes, but you don't understand that they all begin like this. That's him getting rid of the nervousness. He's transferring that anxiety into something else. That's why he have a pen in his hand. He don't be writing. He have a pen in his hand. He's transferring that nervous energy somewhere else. Now, if you don't do that, you then take that nervous energy and you start doing other stuff with it. Now you start pushing forward to plan things. You start pushing forward to do things. You start pushing forward to move things. Find something else to put that energy in. So watch the thing and watch. Why y'all think I have a pen? My stuff printed. You didn't think I wrote all these notes? Y'all thought I wrote these notes? I use a computer, man. You understand? How did the conversation come about? He's pushing me to do these shows. I said, I don't feel comfortable with that. He said, Suck, you think I don't get nervous? Then he explains to me these things. Now, after he explained, now I'm watching him every Sabbath. I watch him before every show. And I watch what he does. So our belief is that people who do things, they're not having these problems. They are. They just learn how to deal with them. You think that people not having issues, they are having issues. They're just not allowing the issues to control all of their movements. That's all that's happening. But you assume, and you assume wrong, okay? You're assuming that they don't have those issues. You would think, my elder been teaching for over 30 years, you would think he didn't have any nervousness. That threw me to find out, wow, it happens to him. Then that allowed me to calm myself down, to figure out, all right, what I'm going to do about when these things happen to me. instead of just jumping up, pacing the floor, doing all of these things. And now I'm getting into nervous conversation and nervous actions and things like that. And understanding that the children of Israel, we have had that. It was this nervous action that said, look, we don't know where he at. Look, he been gone. He came out of nowhere. All right. He brought us out of Egypt. And then he done went up there into that mountain. We don't know where he at. Let's go ahead and make us some Egyptian gods, man, so we can feel comfortable. So you gotta understand, what was make us gods? What was it supposed to do? Was the God gonna lead them? The God was never gonna lead them anywhere. What they were making the God for was so they could calm down their anxiety spirit. That was what the God was being made for, so it can calm their spirit. Because they didn't know what he was. They couldn't see him, so they needed to have something in front of them that they could see. Now we can calm down. That we know. Let's begin today in James chapter 1. James chapter 1 and verses 1 through 8. See, sometimes we begin to allow things that we can see to give us a little bit too much peace, and then it becomes an idol. Because your peace is only in seeing that thing. Now, when you see that thing, now you can calm down. That means you don't have power over your own spirit to be able to calm it down yourself. You need a thing. You need a person. You need a place. See, that brazen serpent was given unto them when they did wrong, and the snake would bite them. When they look upon the brazen serpent, they would be healed. They ended up worshiping the brazen serpent. Why? It gave them peace that they were going to be okay. Go ahead.
Verse 1. Jacob, a servant of Elohim and of the Adonai Yahshua HaMashiach, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad, greetings.
Now, this is Yaakov, very first line. There are 12 tribes that are scattered. How is it that we have somebody in the land that's saying there's no need to look for the lost tribes? First line of his letter. It's 12 tribes. They got at the most 2. They lie don't even have 12 levels of it. They got a 2-level lie. If you're going to tell a lie to fit this, your lie got to at least have the number of levels as the foundation. You got to have 12 lies. You can't show up with 2. It's 12 gates. You ain't got but 2 lies. You missing 10 lies. You 10 lies short. So even up to this point, they all know it's 12 tribes. We keep thinking that we have to go to the Old Testament to go and find all of these things. Y'all not paying attention to what's in the New Testament. Right here. He's talking about 12 tribes. How is it that all of a sudden now we're not dealing with the 12 tribes? The Gentiles were originally taught all about the 12 tribes. They're just hoping you don't know. Go ahead.
My brethren, count it all joy when you fall in divers temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith works patience. But let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing.
Let patience have her perfect work. All right? So then there is some things that come along with temptations and tribulation. Go ahead.
If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of Elohim, that gives to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavers is like a wave of the sea driven with the wind and tossed. For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Adonai. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
For let not that man think that he shall receive anything of the Adonai. Because his wavering in it is the lack of patience. See, patience and faith go hand in hand. See, because we can't wait on Yahweh to do something, sometimes we go about our own to try to make that thing happen. Go ahead.
That was it, verse 8.
That was it. Let's go to Romans chapter 5. See, the one thing you find when Yahweh is doing something, he's training individuals before they even understand that they are being trained. Moshe was being trained inside of Pharaoh's house and being forced to flee out of it. He was still in training. Dawid was in training looking after the sheep. Yahweh had likened the children of Israel to those sheep. They can't see that good, and they can't protect themselves. It was his job to protect them from all the ravenous beasts. Go ahead, Romans chapter 5, and we're going to read verses 1 through 5.
Therefore, being justified by faith, we have peace with Elohim through our Adonai Yahshua HaMashiach, by whom also we have access by faith into this grace wherein we stand, and rejoice in hope of the glory of Elohim. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also.
Do we do that though? Do we glory in tribulations? See, because we don't see the peaceable fruit of righteousness that it brings. All we see is the uncomfort that we are in right now. Yet we'll look at somebody and say, man, I wish I had it together like that brother. Yeah, but that brother done went through hell. I wish I had it together like that sister. That sister done been through hell. You want where they standing without going through what they done went through. That ain't gonna work. Go ahead.
Knowing that tribulation works patience.
Tribulation brings forth patience. See, you learn how to sit still once you done went through a couple things before. See, when I was young, dude across the street, Miss Tig had a dog named Blackie. Blackie, he just liked to chase people, but I found out after watching, Blackie liked to chase little people. Blackie didn't like to chase the older of the kids. Well, they had done figured out. Blackie wasn't gonna bite nobody. Blackie probably ain't had no teeth, okay? Blackie was 1,000, you understand? But that anxiety feeling, that fear jump up into you, and the faster you ran, the faster Blackie would run behind you. Blackie messed around and accidentally caught me one day. He didn't try to catch me. You know, he was just having fun. Blackie enjoyed traumatizing kids. This is what Blackie was born for. He just liked traumatizing kids. He messed around and caught me on the carport. I couldn't get the key in the door to get in, and I'm just screaming, ah! And Blackie was like, all right, man, we'll do this tomorrow. And turned around and walked on back. Blackie didn't mean to catch me. He didn't mean to catch. It was completely accidental. I couldn't get the key right because I'm so nervous. I can't get the key in there to open the door. Blackie like, look, man. Look, come on, this is what we do. You get out of school, I chase you home. This is what we do. All right? I've been doing this for generations. Ask your brother. So then I noticed, wait a minute. The older kids will sit back and laugh at us running. They never ran. And Blackie knew who to chase. Blackie knew, oh, you done found out. Somebody told you, didn't they? Somebody told you ain't got no teeth. Somebody told you. And then, now you entered that group. Now you in that group that Blackie don't chase no more. You got to pause and look at all the Blackies in your life. They may not be dogs, they may not be people, they may be things. What are you running from that you are scared of, but it ain't really chasing you? And if it caught you, it let you go, just so it can chase you again tomorrow. Go ahead, brother, where we at?
Verse 4, and patience, experience, and experience hope. And hope makes not ashamed, because the love of Elohim is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Spirit, which is given unto us.
So then we're looking at an equation then, verse 3. And not only so, but we glory in tribulations also, knowing that tribulation brings patience. It works patience. And patience then brings experience. Then experience then brings hope. And hope makes not ashamed, because the love of Elohim is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Spirit, which is given unto us. We're then looking at an equation. So if you miss the first part of the equation, how do you expect to get all that other stuff that comes behind it? See, people just didn't appear wise. See, I didn't understand why Yahweh was allowing me to go through so many things early in life. It makes sense now. It makes sense now. It did not make sense then. But it's the experience that brings forth those things. And then people ask, well, man, how do you know such and such? Well, when you've been downtown in pretrial lockup, you learn a lot of things. A lot of y'all don't want to go to pretrial lockup. So I advise you to learn from somebody who already been to pretrial lockup. But if you one of those that you can only learn unless it happens to you, pretrial lockup it is. Then you doing that to you. Then don't cry when he do it to you. Because you wouldn't learn from anybody else who tried to tell you, hey, I wouldn't go down that road if I was you. Hey, I would be careful dealing with that individual. That's a snake. If you are the only person that you can learn from, I'm telling you now, clock in, because it's finna be a long life. You about to have a long life. You better learn from somebody else. Because if you got to go through everything, we are never going to make any progress. That's what parents do, leave something behind for the children so the children ain't got to start from scratch. But how are we going to get somewhere if we keep starting from scratch? Let's go to Romans chapter 8. Romans chapter 8, and we're going to read verses 12 through 30.
Verse 12. Therefore, brethren, we are debtors, not to the flesh, to live after the flesh. For if you live after the flesh, you shall die. But if you through the Spirit do mortify the deeds of the body, you shall live.
What does that mean, mortify the deeds of the body? Understand, if you live after the flesh, you shall die. If you attempt to fulfill everything that the flesh wants, you're going to die. The flesh lies to you. The flesh is a lying entity. It tells you that you cannot live without something. And then you go past that point. And you still don't address the flesh for what it is. Flesh, you lied to me. You told me that I absolutely could not live without Keisha Johnson. But Keisha ain't here. And guess what? I'm still living. Flesh, you lied. Flesh, you a liar. You ain't nothing but a liar. But you know what we do? We turn around. We know the flesh lied. And we let the flesh lie to us again. Now the flesh said, you know what? You can't live without Naquita Jenkins. Now, wait a minute. You know it already lied to you about Keisha. Now you let it lie to you about it. See? So you just trade one lie for another lie. Still not acknowledging the liar. Right. Go ahead.
For as many as are led by the Spirit of Elohim, they are the sons of Elohim. For you have not received the spirit of bondage again to fear, but you have received the spirit of adoption, whereby we cry, Abba, Father.
So if we are led by the Spirit of Elohim, then that is what makes us the sons of Elohim. Then we have to understand, what does the Spirit of Elohim lead us to do? So when we are doing what it is we're doing, are we being led by the Spirit of Elohim, or what spirit is leading us to perform those actions? Go ahead.
The Spirit itself bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of Elohim. And if children, then heirs, heirs of Elohim, and joint heirs with the Mashiach, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together.
Right. Now, we don't have to suffer the same death that he suffered, but we have to suffer in the spirit, just having this word as suffering in the spirit. When you understand that everybody else is keeping one thing, you're doing something else, and then they call you names because you don't do what they do. They call you names. Why you not going to come and keep New Year's with us? You've been keeping New Year's with us. The whole family going to be here. That's part of your sacrifice. See, we have spiritual sacrifices all the way, but then we complain about the spiritual sacrifices. So then what have you done? If that was your offering and you complained about the offering, what does Yahweh say? He like a cheerful giver. That was your sacrifice, and all you did the whole time was complain about it. What did you just do with your offering then? Go ahead.
For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creature waits for the manifestation of the sons of Elohim.
You have to wait for that. The earnest expectation of the creature waits for the manifestation of the sons of Elohim. The whole earth is waiting on you. So how is it that we don't have any patience? The whole earth said, man, we can't function right. When the sons of Elohim was on the earth before, the water was water. When it rained, it was real rain. It wasn't acid spray that came from a plane. When the sons of Elohim were ruling on the earth, you had food that was food. Wasn't no passion fruit. See? Fruit didn't look at another fruit and say, you know what, lemon, what, lime? I said, lemon, I want you. Wasn't no passion between the lemon and the lime. They didn't desire one another. The lemons stayed with the lemons and the limes stayed with the limes. The whole earth is waiting on you. And you got to wait on it. Go ahead.
Verse 20, for the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who hath subjected the same in hope. Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of Elohim.
I'm telling you, the whole earth is waiting because the earth knows what it's supposed to do. It knows how it's supposed to be operated. It knows that the land's supposed to keep the Sabbath. That ain't happening under a wicked rule. You think it's just the people? The ground, the trees, that soil is living. Life comes out of that soil. It's even waiting on you. Go ahead.
For we know that the whole creation groans and travails in pain together until now. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption to wit, the redemption of our body. For we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man sees, why does he yet hope for it?
And this is where the faith and patience goes hand in hand. Because sometimes we can't believe until we see. Until it becomes tangible. See, Yahweh knew that the children of Israel were a bunch of tangible type individuals coming out of Egypt. They were always able to behold the Spirit of Yahweh. They had a cloud and a fire. It moved. How much of a genius do you need to be to realize it's time to move when that starts moving? I don't need, once that start moving, I don't need to say, I pray that you would show me what to do. It's moving, genius. What do you think it wants you to do? But we have to learn how to move without that. See? You got to learn to move without seeing a cloud over your head, without seeing fire move in the sky. See, that's them people that say, you know what, I'm going to do this when God tell me to do it. We heard that many times when people say, you know, I'm going to get my baptism when God tell me. I tell you what, God didn't tell you to go to college. He didn't tell you to go apply for that job. And he didn't tell you, look, go holler at Tanisha. Go talk to that one right there. He didn't tell you to do that. He didn't tell you to do that. Wait, come on. By show of hands, which one God told you to go talk to your woman? Go ahead. Come on, Cletus, come on. He didn't tell you to do that. Oh, but when it come down to certain things, he got to come tell you personally. Right. Mm-hmm. But you move that right along. All right, well, just turn Tanisha back in until you figure it out. You know what? All right, I'll do it tonight. Right. Read, pray.
But if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it.
Uh-huh.
Likewise, the Spirit also helps our infirmities, for we know not what we should pray for as we ought.
Right. So then the Spirit is holding some prayers. You know, it dawned on me that it was some places where, especially when you deal with when Yohanan was born, and you have his parents giving birth to him at an old age. And it comes up and it's like, your prayers have been answered. And people like, what prayers you talking about? Behold, you shall have a son. Nah, man, we might have prayed that about 30 years ago. See, we done forgot some of our prayers by the time. See, our concept of time and Yahweh's concept of time is not the same. So, who's to say when it says that the Spirit helps our infirmities, for we know not what we should pray for as we ought. So you pray for something, and the Spirit take that. Nah, Yahweh, I'm going to let you hear that in about 10 years. He not ready for that. You just a prayer. You know what, Yahweh, I keep praying, but Yahweh not hearing me. No, he just not hearing that part. The angel keep taking that right out of the prayer. Then 10 years later, you know what, now he ready. Now, you done forgot you asked for it. And now it show up. Are you expecting somebody? Did you expect somebody? No, I ain't expecting somebody. Can I help you? Yes, this is destiny. Destiny? Who did I ask for you? You did. About 12 years ago. Now Yahweh say you're ready for destiny. Go ahead.
But the Spirit itself makes intercessions for us with groanings which cannot be uttered.
Right. He don't need this. This is what he need. She don't need that. This is what she need. Go ahead.
I'm glad you said need, because there's a difference between a need and a want.
What you talking about? What you talking about? We confuse those. We confuse those often. You know, and you hear it in the kids when they come up. The question is, do we hear it in ourselves? You know? And we may not say we need like that, but we produce that. See? We may need a stove, but we bought some rims. Okay? Now you sitting out there shining them up. Everybody else got molded food in the house because they won't want nothing to stay cold. Hey, look at this cat out there cleaning these wheels. Hey, sometimes we have to learn as well the difference between needs and wants. I had to tell myself that every 4 or 5 days when I'm going through Amazon late at night. I just would be flipping. That boy, that thumb be going. I'm like, look at that. Look at that. Sock, you don't need that. Sock, stop it. Maybe I should just get one. Yeah. See, I already used to have that. See, when I was growing up, and my grandmama had the same problem. The late night infomercials. See, the infomercials I've been a. Boy, it's dangerous for me to watch TV at night with a credit card in my hand. I be watching and what? Calm down. Limited time. Baby, look. Limited time. I need to get this now. Hey, now the internet done made that dangerous, because now that happens 24 hours a day. See? And everybody got to know their weakness. Sometimes I got to put this thing down and walk away from it. You know, my kids done told me, we done seen a whole vehicle come through this door. Tires, fenders, bumper. One of them came and climbing. Mama, where we gonna sit? Look at all these car parts in there. Where we gonna sit? We gonna sit on the fender? I'm like, all right, I'll take it to the back. Go ahead, brother, go ahead.
Verse 27. And he that searches the hearts knows what is the mind of the Spirit, because he makes intercession for the saints according to the will of Elohim.
According to the will of Elohim. So Yahweh not praying for you to get those new rims. I know that is heartbreaking to some individuals. He is not praying for you to get that new AR. Oh, you done hit some feelings now. You mean Yahweh don't want surely? He said go get a sword. I'm just getting a fancy new sword. That's all. Right. Go ahead.
And we know that all things work together for good to them that love Elohim, to them who are the called according to his purpose.
Uh-huh.
For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Mm-hmm. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called.
Right. We think we found something. You think you was going on the internet and stumbled into us. Just like I thought one day I was flipping through the channels and stumbled on a television show that sparked my interest. I had already had situations, and I said, oh, I can't go back to this church no more, because some situations went down and this guy didn't stop it. I was like, hey, you gonna let your sheep get misled knowing that person teaching wrong? I can't go to that place. Then I went home and said, look, I don't know where I'm going. God, show me what I'm supposed to be doing. A couple months later, I'm flipping through the channels and I bump into a TV show. I think I found the show. He was getting me ready for the show to find me. Then what do I end up doing? Once I get there, I'm in charge of the television program that I saw that brought me into the Word. Yahweh got jokes. So you think it was you that put that in the search bar. You think out of all those things you search for that you end up here, you ran into 8 purple websites before you got here. Right. Go ahead.
And whom he called, them he also justified. And whom he justified, them he also glorified.
All right, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 29. See, when I first tried to come to the Word, somebody gave me I had a Ben-Ami book and a YBY book. I read the book front to cover. The YBY book, I mean, I inhaled it. I went down to the West End several times. Every time I went down there was nobody there. Then the last time I went, the entire place was open. They had candles burning. They had all kind of stuff. I done went all the way through the building to the point where I felt ashamed because I was going back too far toward the back. And I keep calling out and won't nobody answer. I could have went 10 more times. Wasn't nobody going to be there. Because Yahweh had done already decided. That TV show was what I was supposed to do. See, I was doing some stuff on my own. because now I done got a little bit of information, so now I'm going here and I'm going there. No. I got where you supposed to be. See, then I don't find out about these other places until later. But what if the only thing that I heard was what was going on in the West End? Well, some people believe in the Sabbath, but not enough for their restaurant not to be open. Wait a minute now, wait a minute. What the Sabbath?
Well, the Sabbath is in the land, and so we gather the money here, and then we send it to the land.
Right. That makes sense. Well, what they do that at? Because that don't make no sense. But see, what if that was all I knew? So Yahweh already blocked me from that beforehand. He never even let me get into it. Jeremiah chapter 29, let's start at verse 1.
Now these are the words of the letter that Jeremiah the prophet sent from Jerusalem unto the residue of the elders which were carried away captives, and to the priests, and to the prophets, and to all the people whom Nebuchadnezzar had carried away captive from Jerusalem to Babylon. After that, Jeconiah the king, and the queen, and the eunuchs, the princes of Yehudah and Jerusalem, and the carpenters, and the smiths, were departed from Jerusalem, by the hand of Elasah, the son of Shaphan, and Gemariah, the son of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah, king of Yehudah, sent on to Babylon to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, saying, Thus says Yahweh of hosts, the El of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon. Build you houses, and dwell in them, and plant gardens, and eat the fruit of them.
Now, this is not what the children of Israel want to hear. Because you have to understand what's happening. When Yahweh, punishes Israel, he punishes us through captivity. For you were created to be a servant, and one way or another you're going to serve. You're either going to serve your Elohim, or you're going to serve your enemy. So, our captivities were first a couple of years. It was 3 years, 4 years, then 12 years, then 18 years. Now, they are about to go through a 70-year captivity. What does that mean? That means this is going to encompass an entire generation. You got to understand what he's putting down at this point. Now, the captivity, the punishment is going on a different level. Now you're going to have some patience. And that's what this is saying. No. Go ahead and build you some houses. Go ahead and settle in. Because you ain't coming out of this one right away. Matter of fact, you will not be alive when your people come out of this one. See, it's going to be your kids that's going to come out of this one. You ain't coming out of this one. Your entire life, you finna be in this right here. That ain't what we want to hear. We're not trying to hear that. We want to hear just like the other one. No, man, we do 18 years and then we out. No. 18 not going to help you on this one. Go ahead and get comfortable. And this is where we start seeking ways to get out of the punishment, because we can't sit patiently in the punishment. So we seek a remedy. Go ahead.
Take you wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that you may be increased there and not diminished. And seek the peace of the city, whether I have caused you to be carried away captive.
Seek the peace of it, because you ain't coming out. Ain't no need of you going there trying to march and, you can hold hands and sing Kumbaya. Y'all not coming by. You going to be there until this is over. Go ahead.
And pray unto Yahweh for it. For in the peace thereof shall you have peace. For thus says Yahweh of hosts, the El of Israel, let not your prophets and your diviners that be in the midst of you deceive you, neither hearken to your dreams which you cause to be dreamed.
You cause them to be dreamed because that's what you want. Go ahead.
For they prophesy falsely unto you in my name. I have not sent them, says Yahweh. For thus says Yahweh, that after 70 years be accomplished at Babylon, I will visit you and perform my good word toward you, in causing you to return to this place.
In 70 years. You think they able to figure that out? Wait a minute, Yahweh, in 70 years, I'm not going to be alive. That won't be me who coming back in this land. And that's something that we just have a problem doing. You got to understand, oh, no, this work that you about to do, you will not reap the benefits of it. Your children will. And your children ain't going to be children when they get it. We talking about 70 years. Your children ain't going to be old. Your grandkids going to get this. Go ahead.
For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, says Yahweh, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. Then shall you call upon me, and you shall go and pray unto me, and I'll hearken unto you. And you shall seek me and find me, when you shall search for me with all your heart.
In other words, you don't know how to search for me with your whole heart right now. You ain't had enough separation between you and I. Your heart is on other things. But when this is over, you're going to be able to seek me with all your heart. You're going to be able to seek me not putting other things in front of me. Well, you know I'm going to do this, and you know with the rest of the time I got left, you know how I get at the Yahweh. Yeah, I'm going to do this with my money, you know what I'm saying, and then the rest that I got left over, I throw some change at you. I hit him with a few of these nickels. He's all right. I'm going to show you how to do this toward me with your whole heart. How you going to do that? I'm going to remove everything else. Now I'm going to have your undivided attention. Go ahead.
And I will be found of you, says Yahweh, and I'll turn away your captivity, and I will gather you from all the nations, and from all the places whither I have driven you, says Yahweh. And I'll bring you again into the place whence I caused you to be carried away captive.
Now check this out. Now we always look at Babylon and we deal with it as one place. Why does he keep saying all the places? He's saying places, not place. And then you got people who every time they want to say that they are the children of Israel, they say, you know, we were slaves too in Egypt. Remember? You remember? Remember? Y'all remember? Why you don't talk about none of these captivities? See, it's hard to read about these captivities and tell the same lie that you've been in the land for thousands of years. You know, the two of those lies they can't walk hand in hand. Go ahead.
Because you have said, Yahweh has raised us up prophets in Babylon. Know that thus says Yahweh of the king that sits upon the throne of Dawid, and of all the people that dwell in this city, and of your brethren that are not gone forth with you into captivity. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, behold, I'll send upon them the sword, the famine, and the pestilence, and will make them like vile figs that cannot be eaten. They are so evil. And I'll persecute them with the sword, with the famine, and with the pestilence, and will deliver them to be removed to all the kingdoms of the earth, to be a curse and an astonishment, and an hissing, and a reproach among all the nations whither I have driven them. Because they have not hearkened to my words, says Yahweh, which I sent unto them by my servants the prophets, rising up early and sending them, but you would not hear, says Yahweh.
So then, even as Yahweh is doing the thing in Babylon, then we also then know that Yahweh is doing a Babylon of Babylons. So, oh no, this ain't going to be the end. I'm going to have to deal with them, and I'm going to deal with them according to this Babylonian setup right here. So this is the base, but they're going to be driven all over the place. So for somebody to say that there is not any scattered of Israel, they have to be thieves attempting to steal the heritage of the true Israelites. Because it's written too many times in this book that the children of Israel are going to be scattered. So how they go to one place and get you? Go ahead.
Hear you therefore the word of Yahweh, all you of the captivity, whom I have sent from Jerusalem to Babylon. Thus says Yahweh of hosts, the El of Israel, of Ahab the son of Kaliah, and of Zedekiah the son of Messiah, which prophesy a lie unto you in my name. Behold, I'll deliver them into the hand of Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babylon, and he shall slay them before your eyes. And of them shall be taken up a curse by all the captivity of Yehudah which are in Babylon, saying, Yahweh make you like Zedekiah and like Ahab, whom the king of Babylon roasted in the fire, because they have committed villainy in Israel, and have committed adultery with their neighbors' wives, and have spoken lying words in my name, which I have not commanded them. Even I know, and am a witness, says Yahweh.
Now, you know, that there's certain things that are so foul that you don't even, really want to spend any time on it. But at the end of verse 22, it says, and Yahweh make you like Zedekiah and like Ahab, whom the king of Babylon roasted in the fire. I was looking at something, and it was the real dark-skinned brother that played in the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Army movie. I can't think of the brother name. Dukes. Not David Duke. You done went. They done went David Duke, but you done went white supremacy. But that brother was saying that he was talking about this book, and he was saying a couple of Gentiles put it together, and it's a book with pictures, and it was talking about all these things where the Gentiles would roast our people over the fire, where they get the barbecue from, where they would roast us, and the Gentiles would stand there and take pictures of the roasted, burnt body parts. You know, just like those hanging pictures that we see. Hey, if you pay attention to those pictures, they all got on suits. That was Sunday's best. They hung slaves at the church. They just got through getting in this book, and then they hung, and it's kids posing for that picture. And y'all know we didn't take the picture. So these pictures are around because they have provided them. So when you read this and talking about as Babylon is being mentioned and talking about roasted in the fire, only to find out our people have undergone those very things. Those are the things that they don't want us to read, because one bit of knowledge brings forth more knowledge. If they allowed, the 1619 Project and things like that to start being read in school, it's going to bring forth other, wait a minute, I'm curious about this. Just like when you go and click on something on the internet, other things like that keep popping up in your search feed. You didn't search for that, but it was connected to this thing. They're worried that if you start reading this and you start having certain other keywords, other things are going to start popping up in your search that are not popping up in your search right now. See? That's what that's all about. One bit of knowledge brings forth another level of knowledge, and then another level. Go ahead. Did you finish
verse
that?
23. Yes, sir.
All right. Now, it takes patience in the spirit to even deal with the chastisement from Elohim. We can't rush the ending. It's the lack of patience that causes us to sometimes run away from the rightful chastisement that we deserve for our actions. Faith and patience goes hand in hand. When we don't have faith in something or someone, we rush to intervene or attempt to make something happen on our own. Even our spiritual heroes had issues with faith and patience. Let's go to Genesis chapter 15. So before we beat ourselves up totally, you got to understand, our forefathers had the same problem. See, there's certain things that we have to look and say, okay, this is a family trait. I got to deal with this. Genesis chapter 15, and let's start that at verse 1.
After these things, the word of Yahweh came on to Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am your shield and your exceeding great reward. And Abram said, Adonai Elohim, what will you give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus? And Abram said, Behold, to me you have given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir.
Now, this is factual, all right? This is a fact. He's stating this. Go ahead.
And behold, the word of Yahweh came unto him, saying, This shall not be your heir, but he that shall come forth out of your own bowels shall be your heir.
All right, now we're in another level. It's not all about whether or not we believe Yahweh. The next step that comes in is, how do you believe Yahweh? Okay? Because at this point, he believes what Yahweh has said. But his own mind now wants to figure out how Yahweh is going to do it. And this is where we get into trouble, because now we want to limit our Elohim, that he can do this, but he can't do that. So this must be how he's going to do this. This is where we get ourselves in the jam. Because you can't figure out how Yahweh is going to do it. Now you go about on your own to try and make it happen. Go ahead.
And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if you be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall your seed be.
Now, to tell a young man that is something altogether different. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, I mean, I got that mean I'm gonna spread. Hey, boy, this is good things I'm hearing from you, Yahweh. It's good things. It's really good things what you're saying to it, brother. I really like what you're saying. Keep talking. But when you say this to an old man, you're like, wait a minute, now hold on, stop the pressure. If you'd have told me this 45 years ago, now I'd have been, and that's probably why he didn't tell him 45 years ago, and he would have been everywhere. Yahweh said I could. No, man, sit down. Go ahead.
And he believed in Yahweh, and he counted it to him for righteousness.
Now, it is counted unto him for righteousness. He believed Yahweh. But the question is, how did he believe Yahweh? Go ahead.
And he said unto him, I am Yahweh that brought you out of Ur of the Chaldees to give you this land to inherit it. And he said, Adonai Elohim, where shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, Take me an heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another, but the birds divided he not.
Right. So we're talking about animal sacrifice here. There's no law, there's no Israel, there's no anything. See, Yahweh brings forth things that he may not explain too much later on. Go ahead.
And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram. And, lo, an horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that your seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward they shall come out with great substance.
Right. This is also why the powers that be don't want you to read this book. Because they know judgment is coming to them. They know it. So you have to also understand that this information is coming to a man about his seed whom he does not have. Now, this kind of solidifies that he's going to have a seed, because now, they're going to go through a lot of stuff. That's hard to hear when you ain't had the child yet. Keep going.
You want to keep going?
Jump to verse 16, chapter 16, and I want you to read verses 1 and 2.
Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children.
Uh-huh.
And she had an handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar.
So now, does the thought now get in their head, this is how he's going to do it? Go ahead.
And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold now, Yahweh has restrained me from bearing.
Now, you don't think he done told his wife the promise that Yahweh done gave him? Now she's going about herself to try to figure out, well, he said he's going to give him all these children. I mean, ain't no children coming out of here. You know, the flour factory closed. So I got to figure out how I'm gonna make this happen. Now everybody trying to figure out how they gonna do Yahweh's work. Now everybody trying to figure out, I need to do this, I need to do that. That ain't your job. But you're gonna try to figure it out. Go ahead.
I pray you, going on to my maid,
Uh-huh.
it may be that I may obtain children by her.
Uh-huh.
And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai.
Why did he hearken? That means he believed it too. But see, when it all falls down now, as manly as we are, it was a woman, it was a woman, it was she, it was she, it was she. She gave, it was the she that you gave to me. Wait a minute. You agreed. You agreed. It was her idea, but you agreed. So this whole situation that you have with Ishmael, that was of their own thought. But then having the patience to wait on Yahweh, Yahweh doesn't come back for almost another decade. Oh yeah, here go the kid. What? Who gonna have baby? You gonna have baby. And I want you to name him that thing that you did when I told you were gonna have one. Remember that laugh that you made? Remember that laugh? What'd you call him laughter? So every time you call his name, I want you to think about what you did when I told you what I was gonna do. Y'all got jokes? What if he told us to do that? Think about whatever that was you were doing when one of your kids was born. Laughter would be the best thing that we could call. Because some of us, we might have to call them kids something bad. That'd be a day. Like, what was you doing when I was born? Come here, little dope sack. Dope sack, come here. And hey. You better be glad he ain't deal with us like that. Go ahead, bro.
You know, you mentioned about him having the conversation, and it got me thinking, you know, if he'd just sit down and meditated on it, you know, and held that to himself, even with the name of Esaac, because we see further on where the angel then comes and talks to her, which then causes her to laugh, which the name laughter would have still come about.
Right.
But like you said, then Ishmael might not have been even in the picture had he just sat, meditated, and kept that to himself. But later on, you'd hear that, you keeping things from me.
Right.
You know, but sometimes you just got to sit down and watch how things going to play out.
What did the word say? Keep your mouth from her that lies at your bosom. Some people don't have the ability. We don't understand that there are levels of pillow talk. So you got to know how deep your pillow talk supposed to go. There's some people in here that would have had a whole hell of a lot of hard time if I couldn't control my pillow talk. See, I know everybody's business. So I can't go home with pillow talk. By the way, Ruel got this thing. I can't do that. I can't do that. And then I'm going to talk just like Ruel when I talk about it. You know what I'm talking about? No, that ain't going to work. So there's certain things that you are actually saving your family from by not giving them that information. Because now you're causing them to be pushed to try some things that they should not be trying. So now this information that she had from him, did it now cause her to push a handmaid on him to marry? Because they're trying to figure out how Yahweh gonna do what Yahweh does? If she didn't have that information, maybe she would not have even offered that. See? And that's something that we have to consider. Let's go to our 1 Kings chapter 12. Sometimes you give folks just enough information for them to go get themselves in trouble.
First Kings chapter 12 and verse 16. So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, What portion have we in Dawid? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Yesse. To your tents, O Israel. Now see to your own house, Dawid. So Israel departed unto their tents.
Now, this is Israel being divided. Now, this is a very, very horrible thing. Yahweh went through great lengths to put the children of Israel together as a nation. And now the nation is dividing. But this is also of Yahweh. Go ahead.
But as for the children of Israel which dwelt in the cities of Yehuda, Rehoboam reigned over them. Then King Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was over the tribute, and all Israel stoned him with stones, that he died. Therefore King Rehoboam made speed to get him to his chariot to flee to Jerusalem.
See, we know when not to be too patient, no. See, some things you talk to us, it take us a month of Sundays to do. Once we see them rocks hit somebody's flesh, gotta go. Ain't nobody gotta convince us to lead in. Go ahead.
So Israel rebelled against the house of David unto this day. And it came to pass, when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation, and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Yehuda only. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Yehuda with the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors, to fight against the house of Israel, to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam the son of Shlomo.
So now they're ready to go to war, and they got all these warriors. They are about to go to war to bring the kingdom back together. Go ahead.
But the word of Elohim came unto Shemaiah, the man of Elohim, saying, Speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Shlomo, king of Yehuda, and unto all the house of Yehuda and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, Thus says Yahweh, You shall not go up, nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me.
This thing is from me. I am the reason that this is happening. But they are about to avenge themselves. They are about to go into action. But the word of Yahweh has to come in and say, don't do that. I know this might be something that you don't think is favorable. But if you decide to go against it, that you are going against me. Are you sure that's the course of action that you want to take? Because I can tell you now, no matter how many warriors you put together, you ain't going to win. I don't care what kind of weaponry you got, you ain't going to win. This thing is from me. Who going to reverse the actions of Yahweh? Go ahead.
They hearkened therefore to the word of Yahweh, and returned to depart according to the word of Yahweh. Then Jeroboam built Shechem and Mount Ephraim, and dwelt therein, and went out from thence, and built Penuel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, Now shall the kingdom return to the house of David.
All right, so now there's worry on the other side. So this one thing happened on one side of the war, where they are told not to go to war because this thing is of Yahweh. But now on the other side, the other one is going to make a move. Go ahead.
If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of Yahweh at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Adonai, even unto Rehoboam, king of Yehuda, and they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam, king of Yehuda. Whereupon the king took counsel, and made 2 calves of gold.
Now the first question is, who you took counsel with? Who told you to build 2 calves of gold? You need to get some better people that you get information from. He took counsel. So this is to keep the children of Israel when it comes down for the holy days or doing anything, and they go down, they're going to join back. Wait a minute. If this thing was of Yahweh, don't you think if maybe you prayed and had some patience, he would have directed you on doing something? But this separation was of him. But now you have given the majority of Israel idols to worship. All because you're trying to make this happen yourself. He said this thing is of me. But they hadn't heard that on this side. So now they're going about to do their own thing. Go ahead.
And said unto them, It is too much for you to go to Jerusalem. Behold your gods, O Israel, which brought you up out of the land of Egypt. And he set the one in Bethel, and the other put he in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. And he made an house of high places, and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi.
Right. And this is all to keep them from going down there and not dealing with allowing Yahweh to set up or even seeking Yahweh. He sought somebody's counsel. Go ahead.
And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Yehuda.
Uh-huh.
And
It's going to be a feast like the other feast. See, it's going to be a like feast. See? It's going to be, I'm going to do something that's just like this other feast. See? Right. I'm going to be just like the Most High. Right. Go ahead.
And he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he had made. And he placed in Bethel the priest of the high places which he had made. So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised of his own heart.
Right. And people want to know why we don't just keep, y'all going to keep this? Or y'all keep these holy days? What about Chanukah? Y'all keep Chanukah? Hell no, we don't keep Chanukah. I ain't keeping Chanukah. That's Jewish Christmas. And I don't need no special day to get my kids gift. And nothing about Chanukah add up anyway. It's a lie. The oil lie, the time is a lie, everything about it is a lie. It just gives people a chance to be what they really are. Christians. Because that's where they came from anyway. And they had to make a way for them to still be able to get their kids gifts. Go ahead.
And ordained a feast unto the children of Israel. And he offered upon the altar and burnt incense.
All right. Let's go to our 1 Samuel chapter 13. First Samuel chapter 13, and we're going to read verses 1 through 14.
First Samuel chapter 13 and verse 1. Saul reigned 1 year, and when he had reigned 2 years over Israel, Saul chose him 3,000 men of Israel, whereof 2,000 were with Saul in Michmash and in Mount Bethel, and 1,000 were with Jonathan in Gibeah Benjamin. And the rest of the people he sent every man to his tent. And Jonathan smote the garrison of the Philistines that was in Gibeah, and the Philistines heard of it. And Saul blew the trumpet throughout all the land, saying, Let the Hebrews hear. And all Israel heard say that Saul had smitten a garrison of the Philistines, and that Israel also was had in abomination with the Philistines. And the people were called together after Saul to Gilgal. And the Philistines gathered themselves together to fight with Israel, 30,000 chariots and 6,000 horsemen, and people as the sand which is on the seashore in multitude. And they came up and pitched in Michmash, eastward from Beth-aven.
Now, one thing you'll find out about King Saul, he was bold and he was scared all at the same time. He's a big contradiction. He's a big warrior looking man, and he jumps off and it says he reigned 1 year, and when he had reigned 2 years over Israel, he chose him out some chosen men, and he done went off and did some things. Now, here comes retribution from these people. They're all right, well, it's our turn. Now Saul turns into a different man. Go ahead.
When the men of Israel saw that they were in a strait, for the people were distressed, then the people did hide themselves in caves, and in thickets, and in rocks, and in high places, and in pits.
Now understand now, we weren't messing with them. We wasn't sitting there like in our own thing, and then the Philistines came messing with us. No. Nah, he went and jumped it off. Then when it really jumped off, everybody running. Go ahead.
And some of the Hebrews went over Jordan to the land of Gad and Gilead. As for Saul, he was yet in Gilgal, and all the people followed him trembling. And he tarried 7 days, according to the set time that Samuel had appointed. But Samuel came not to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him.
Right. Now, this is where you have to learn how Yahweh moves. This is why when we talk, we say things like Yah's will. You know, I remember hearing somebody say, you know, when I tell somebody I'm going to do something and I say I'm going to do it on that day, then that is the day that it's going to happen because I'm a man of my word. I said, no, you a man that Yahweh does not use. Because see, a man who Yahweh uses has no control over the time and the places that he's going to be. He just thinks he does. This is why we learn to say, Yah's will. It is my intention to be there with you at this time, on this day. But if Yahweh my Elohim come and bring something to me that I have to deal with, guess who I'm not going to see? You. And I'm not going to feel bad about it. Hey, the Spirit directed me in another way. Go ahead.
And Saul said, bring hither a burnt offering to me, and peace offerings. And he offered the burnt offering.
Uh-huh.
And it came to pass that
Now Saul's a king now, but now he just did an offering. Go ahead.
And it came to pass that as soon as he had made an end of offering the burnt
Why
offering,
did it have to be as soon as he had made an end? See, this is how, if you want to watch your Elohim, you need to watch, you need to pay attention. Yahweh, as soon as he had got through doing something that he had no business doing, here come the man who should have been doing it. Go ahead.
behold, Samuel came, and Saul went out to meet him, that he might salute him. And Samuel said, what have you done? And Saul said, because I saw that the people were scattered from me,
Now listen how he throws the blame. Go ahead.
and that you came not within the days appointed.
You did see, because you didn't come. See? This is why I said that faith and patience go hand in hand. See? We don't have any patience, which means that we don't have any faith in the individuals. He does not have faith because of this time. It's not going according to his time. So instead of him praying unto Yahweh and waiting, he's going to jump into this and jump up in Yahweh's business. He's going to jump up in Samuel's business. Because you ain't working quick enough. See, I don't like your time schedule of how you're doing what you're doing. So I had to. Keep reading.
And that the Philistines gathered themselves together at Michmash. Therefore said I, the Philistines will come down upon me to Gilgal, and I have not made supplication unto Yahweh. I forced myself, therefore, and offered a burnt offering.
Now you have to listen to his words. Why did he say I forced myself? See, exactly. See, when you force yourself, the instruction is here. That's your gate. If you force, you push past. So what happened is he knew what his instructions were, and he knew where he was supposed to stop, but he forced himself. In other words, he pushed past what he know what was supposed to be his boundary. But I'm going to still use you as a scapegoat. You know, I forced myself because you came not at the time appointed. See, if you had not been late, then this whole thing would have never been happening. See, you should have put more care into this. And then all this wouldn't have went down. And we don't see the hand of Yahweh. Where Yahweh, I purpose, Yahweh made sure Samuel was delayed. See? Yeah, Samuel planned on being at this place at this time. That is the appointed time. But Yahweh don't care nothing about that. Go over here. I need you to do this. Matter of fact, y'all hinder him right here. Yeah, make sure that damn donkey got a problem right there. Slow him down a little bit. Why you want to do that, Yahweh? Because I'm about to prove something over here. To prove that over there, I need to hold him here. Because if they see everything he doing, then they're not going to move. No. I want them to go ahead and do what they're going to do. So I'm going to hold him right here. But I'm going to hold him just long enough. Not a long time. Just long enough to let self-will kick in. Go ahead.
And Samuel said to Saul, you have done foolishly. You have not kept the commandment of Yahweh your Elohim. which he commanded you.
Uh-huh.
For
That's
now,
how he forced himself. He knew what his instruction was. He knew he wasn't no priest. Go ahead.
for now would Yahweh have established your kingdom upon Israel forever.
Uh-huh.
But now your kingdom shall not continue. Yahweh has sought him a man after his own heart, and Yahweh has commanded him to be captain over his people, because you have not kept that which Yahweh commanded you.
Right. And it ain't that this man is going to be perfect, but he's going to be a man who is after the heart of Yahweh, which means he's going to be about doing the things that are pleasing unto Yahweh, not the things that are pleasing unto himself. Let's go to Matthew chapter 13. Matthew chapter 13. And we're going to read verses 24 through 30.
Verse 24. Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is like unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, did not you sow good seed in your field? From whence then has it tares? He said unto them, An enemy has done this. The servants said unto him, Will you then that we go and gather them up? But he said, No, least while you gather up the tares, you root up also the wheat with them.
Right. So if you do not exercise patience in this, you're going to snatch up good servants because they have entangled themselves with the bad. So you can't snatch them up right now because you're going to be snatching up the good fruit. Go ahead.
Let both grow together until the harvest. And in the time of harvest, I will say to the reapers, Gather you together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn.
Right. So then let them grow. You have to understand how Yahweh operates. Let them grow. When they grow enough, we'll be able to tell the difference between the wheat and the tare. We'll be able to tell what's a weed and what is a fruit. But if you catch them in the small portion, in the beginning stages, you're snatching up things that should be left in the ground. Now there's certain deeper aspects that goes with that. Jump to verse 36.
Then Yahshua sent the multitude away, and went into the house. And his disciples came unto him, saying, Declare unto us the parable of the tares of the field. He answered and said unto them, He that sows the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the whole world. The good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world.
The harvest is the end of the world, so you don't get to snatch them out right now. No matter how much you want to. Go ahead.
And the reapers are the angels. As therefore the tares are gathered and burnt in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do lawlessness, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who has ears to hear, let him hear.
All right. So then we see that then, excuse me, is a process. Okay? When you talk about taking these tares, there has to be timing even when that's done. Now, there are some among us who have committed worse deeds than some people who were escorted out of the door. When you allow the patience of the Spirit to do what it does, you find that the judgment is not based on the action, but rather whether or not they have the ability to repent. See, these people may have done worse, but have repentance in them. The others have no changes in them. They will never repent because they will never admit any wrongdoing. Saul was our example for this. And it was well reported of that he had done much evil against the saints, but Yahweh kept him. But what if other saints acted out of impulse and cut off a would-be great worker for the kingdom? Let's go to Acts chapter 9. See, it's one thing for us to read about what some of the people of this book has done. How many of us remember the things that we've done? What if he snatched us up right at that point? What if we were snatched up right then? That nice little gathering we had for my 50th, for celebrating me entering into eldership. If Yahweh had judged me according to the things earlier, that would have been me celebrating coming out of prison. Looking at everything strange, because, everything changed. Then I'll be the dude and I'm going to get you sucker looking at the high heels with the fish tank in it. Thinking that I'm good. Everybody, look at what he got on. What if he had done that to us? Then you got to think, the 5 kids that I have, I probably wouldn't have but one. So then there's something to allowing the Spirit to do what it does. Do you even understand that the Spirit has done that with you? So how are we not to do that with our brother and our sister? See, we quick to do some things when it's not against us. When it's against us, we want all patience. We want all understanding. What about when it's against your brother and your sister? Do you not have that same patience for them? See, Judah was ready to judge Tamar. Oh, set her on fire. Set her on fire. She has played the harlot. She should be burned. He said, well, the person who I played the whore with, you find out whose bangles are these. Because that's my baby daddy. All of a sudden, the judgment changed. Oh, she has been wiser than I. Wait a minute, Now get the same fire that you were going to burn her with and jump in it. Come on, Judah. We always bragging we Judah, right? Judah. Come on, Judah, go jump in the fire. Because that's what Judah ordained for her. Oh, but you don't have the same judgment for yourself. Isn't that interesting? Right. Let's go to Acts chapter 9, and we're going to start that at verse 1.
And Saul, yet breathing out threatenings and slaughter against the disciples of the Adonai, went on to the high priest, and desired of him letters to Damascus to the synagogues, that if he found any of this way, whether they were men or women, he might bring them bound to Jerusalem.
Now, so ain't nobody got to guess. This is how he operated. All right? The beginning of this says he was breathing out threatenings and slaughter. He's a spiritual bounty hunter, if you will. I find anybody doing this, we're going to tie them up and bring them back so that they can face judgment. Go ahead.
And as he journeyed, he came near Damascus, and suddenly there shined round about him a light from heaven. And he fell to the earth, and heard a voice saying unto him, Saul, Saul, why persecute you me? And he said, Who are you, Adonai? And the Adonai said, I'm Yahshua whom you persecute. It is hard for you to kick against the pricks.
Right.
And he
But
trembled.
when we do things, we don't consider that that's Yahshua that we're doing that to. So in his mind, wait a minute now, wait a minute. you going a little far here. And cry, wait a minute, I ain't persecuted you. Yes, you did. When you did it to them, you did it to me.
And he, trembling and astonished, said, Adonai, what will you have me to do?
Automatically, he is a man about instruction. He believed the former instructions. Now he's been shown a light. He automatically asks, from this point, what are my instructions? Clearly, I have a greater general to follow. A greater commander has appeared in my life. What are my instructions? First questions, instructions. What will you have me to do? And we ain't got to discuss much. I realize that you have just brought something greater into my life. All I need to know now is what are my instructions? I don't need to hear no more. Go ahead.
And the Adonai said unto him, Arise and go into the city, and it shall be told you what you must do.
Then he didn't even give him the instructions. So that you understand how to follow the order. I ain't gonna let you just deal directly with me. Then you gonna think, I ain't really got to deal with y'all. I just go deal directly with the man. Now I need for you to learn what order is. Now go talk to them. Go ahead.
And the man which journeyed with him stood speechless, hearing a voice, but seeing no man. And Saul arose from the earth, and when his eyes were opened, he saw no man, but they led him by the hand and brought him into Damascus. And he was 3 days without sight, and neither did eat nor drink.
And we know the sanctification is 3. All right? Go ahead.
And there was a certain disciple at Damascus named Ananias. And to him said the Adonai in a vision, Ananias. And he said, Behold, I am here, Adonai. And the Adonai said unto him, Arise and go into the street which is called Straight, and inquire in the house of Yehudas for one called Saul of Tarsus. For, behold, he prays, and has seen in a vision a man named Ananias coming in and putting his hand on him, that he might receive his sight.
Now, Ananias want to put hands on him, but not those kind of hands. Oh, he definitely want to put hands on him. Oh, I would pray that you would let me put hands on him. Oh, I want to put hands on him. I want to put hands all up and down him. Oh, I want him to feel these hands. But he can't operate the way he want to operate. Go ahead.
Then Ananias said, Adonai, I have heard by many of this man.
By many, this ain't no gossip. Go ahead.
How much evil he has done to your saints at Jerusalem.
Evil. Not he did something. No. He has done evil to the saints. Okay? Understand, they know some people who were crucified as he stood by and gave the charge. No. You got to understand the level of what this man has done. Go ahead.
And here he has authority from the chief priest to bind all that call on your name.
That's what the letter is. The letter is a license. He got the right to do whatever he need to do to get these people back in. So whatever law he break, he shall not be held accountable for it as long as he bring back these people. Go ahead.
But the Adonai said unto him, Go your way, for he's a chosen vessel unto me, to bear my name before the Gentiles and kings and the children of Israel.
Go your way. Follow your instructions. See? And everything about this is about following your instructions. Go your way. Follow your instructions. He is a chosen vessel unto me. I know what he done. And I'm going to make him earn his salvation in the suffering that he going to have to do based on what he has already done. I got this. I just need you to do your part. I don't need you to do my part. I know what I'm doing. I need you to do your part. Do your part, and I'll do my part. Don't try to do my part. Go ahead.
For I will show him how great things he must suffer for my name's sake.
Now, nobody else was told that. Nobody else was told that. Now, not one time was somebody, he said, come on, get your baptism so I can show you what great things you must suffer for my name's sake. You know what? Oh, no, I ain't trying to get, no, I'm sorry. I ain't getting that. What you talking about? You get baptized into suffering? No, man, I'm not doing that. And nobody else was told this at day one. He at day 0. I'm warning you now. You're going to suffer a lot. You know what? Maybe I should wait on this baptism then. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I should. Maybe. This is not the way you encourage somebody to go forward. This was what he was told right off the rip. All right, I done wrong. I done some things. So I got to clock in more than everybody else. That's why you find his name all throughout here. You see his work all through in here. Why? He did more evil than anybody else, any other apostle, any other disciple, anybody you can name. He did more than all of them. He said, look here, I got a debt I got to pay off. And this debt that I got to pay off is large, it's deep, it's wide. I ain't never going to be finished paying off this debt. Our problem is we don't remember the debt. We done got so clean in our mind that we don't remember the debt. That's what it is. But when we have to sit before that judgment and they play back in HD quality. All right, now this is you. All right, now this is you climbing in the window. You know what, Yahweh, just stop it. Open his eyes. Make sure, and I want you to watch this. No, I remember this. I know you do, but I want you to look at it again. Now this you snaking on your belly. You trying to keep real low. So look at you right there. Then right there you hear noise and you stop. You see that? Yahweh, just stop the video. Yahweh, stop it. No. We got 800 more of these to watch. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I know you ain't tripping on this one. This is the beginning of your foulness. You know what I'm saying? We ain't even got to the good stuff. We ain't got to the good stuff yet. This is the beginning. Don't ain't nobody dying this one. Right. We have selected to forget those things. That's why we have work. Because you don't think you got nothing to pay off. Right. But when he bring back to your remembrance all that stuff, you're going to realize, that half working you were doing, that half this and that half that, you should have stayed in the world and had yourself a good time. That's what you should have done. Go ahead, bro.
You know, what's interesting is on those baptism conference when we warn people that, no, this is not all your troubles going away when you come out that water. This is the beginning of your troubles. To get them in the walk, and in a month, year, too late, they come, man, you know, you're always right. And we try to warn you.
Hey, because Lucifer finna take his stuff back, and Yahweh finna show you how to deal with his stuff. Look, you got to do this way. And our problem is because we're such creatures of habit, we don't like to rearrange. See, we think Yahweh is not trying to take everything away from us. What he's trying to do is show us how to use those things for the benefit of his kingdom. See, I knew I had gifts early on, but I wanted to use those gifts the way I wanted to use them. But then Yahweh put certain things that wouldn't allow me to do it. How you be a rapper and a comedian and you hate clubs? Yeah, well, like, no, let me just give him that one thing that's going to take care of the business right there. Sprinkle that in there. The places where I had to go to exercise my gift, I hate it. I hate clubs. I hate club life. I hate club women. I have never had a progressive relationship with any woman I ever met at a club. Never. I said, you know what? I don't know why I'm here. I don't like this or anybody in here. I don't like these people. I don't like these walls. Then it's confusing me. Yahweh, why would you give me a gift? And then I hate the place where I got to go to use it. Because that ain't where you're supposed to use it at, genius. How long it took me to figure that out? Ain't nobody float down the hall. Read, bro.
And Ananias went his way and entered into the house, and putting his hands on him said, Brother Saul, the Adonai, even Yahshua, that appeared unto you in the way as you came, has sent me.
Right. Now, he didn't put his hands on him the way he wanted to put him. He put his hands on him, but you know, when he coming up, he really want to say, Yahweh told me to put my hands on you. He want to put them hands another way. Hey, man, he know people that he has done. Look, I've heard great stories about this man. Not one, not two, not a few. But he followed his instructions and did what he was told. Go ahead.
That you might receive your sight and be filled with the Holy Spirit.
That you might receive your sight. Understand, he's very vulnerable right now. You know, I mean, Yahweh, Yahweh, can I just slap him one time? Can I just, he ain't gonna even know who slapped him. Yahweh, can I get just one of me in? Just one, just one. I just want to punch his face. He's very vulnerable. He can't see. Go ahead.
And immediately there fell from his eyes as it had been scales, and he received sight forthwith, and arose and was baptized.
He arose and was baptized. Now, sometimes our inner clock is moving so fast that it moves us to deal with things that ought to be left alone. Then there are times where our clock is moving so slow that it keeps us in a dangerous situation. It is written that a prudent man foresees the evil and hides himself, while the simple pass on and are punished. My elder said that he let some things go on too long, and Yahweh was handing him his hat for that. So this was a clear lesson to me that Yahweh wants us to find a balance between patience of the spirit and having the zeal of a he-goat before the flock. When it comes to those that are predestined by the Spirit is either going to move them and place them back on the path, or he will move the path to fit where they are. It's an awfully dangerous action to put yourself in situations where he has to move the path to fit you. He is never not able. The question is he willing? Yah was willing to alter the entire path for Moshe when he said, step aside, and I will build a nation out of you. Let's go to Exodus chapter 4. So sometimes we have to deal with the balance of the patience of the spirit, because sometimes we just being lazy and we call that patience. So we have to make sure that we don't get these two confused. You're being patient. No, you're being lazy. Those ain't the same thing. So when was this due? 2 months ago? I'm being patient. Right. Exodus chapter 4, and let's start that at verse 18.
And Moshe went and returned to Jethro his father-in-law, and said unto him, Let me go, I pray you, and return unto my brethren which are in Egypt, and see whether they be yet alive. And Jethro said to Moshe, Go in peace. And Yahweh said unto Moshe in Midian, Go, return into Egypt, for all the men are dead which sought your life. And Moshe took his wife and his sons, and set them upon an ass, and he returned to the land of Egypt, and Moshe took the rod of Elohim in his hand.
All right, so he already understands certain things, all right? But now he has a wife, and he has these kids, and now he's about to go toward the children of Israel. Now, all of the grace period, see, we keep thinking that this thing about grace is going to last forever. His grace in this particular thing is over. See, when you listen to the people in Sunday morning, they talk about grace, it sounds like grace is going to last forever. You have grace in all sorts of things. You have grace on multiple levels. You have grace in this. You have grace in that. You have grace in this. Understand something. Each one of those grace things has an ending where that grace is over because you are now supposed to be here. Preschool is a grace period for you to learn how to break the crackers on the line. You ain't learned how to break them crackers on the line. Now you got to go to preschool. Mm-hmm. So no. You had a grace period. That said we're gonna give you the cracker. You got to you couldn't do that. So now we got to put you back in preschool. Now you in pre. Because there's a certain level that you're supposed to reach by that point. Okay. He has grace periods. Moshe has just ran out of one. Go ahead.
You know, I've said it before. If we just take that word grace and replace it with probation.
Mm-hmm. Now probation, we definitely understand. Matter of fact, if you say probation too loud, a couple brothers might run to the door. Well, wait, but the PO, they out here? I told them don't come to my church. Trying to worship Yahweh, huh? And what you doing with that cup? Yeah, don't say probation out too loud, bro. We got people that have been through some things. Go ahead, bro.
And Yahweh said unto Moshe, when you go to return into Egypt, see that you do all those wonders before Pharaoh.
Right, and he tell him all these wonderful things, right? Go ahead.
Which I put in your hand. But I'll harden his heart, that he shall not let the people go. And you shall say unto Pharaoh, thus says Yahweh, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. And I say unto you, let my son go, that he may serve me. And if you refuse to let him go, behold, I will slay your son, even your firstborn. And it came to pass by the way in the end that Yahweh met him and sought to kill him.
So after telling him all these great things, now his grace period is over. That thing that you know you should have dealt with, your grace period is over. You have exercised too much patience. But your patience wasn't about him. His patience is because he didn't want to have that uncomfortable conversation with the missus. Because she don't want these boys to get no circumcision. Go ahead.
Then Zipporah took a sharp stone and cut off the foreskin of her son and cast it at his feet and said, surely you're a bloody husband. Surely are a bloody husband art you to me.
Uh-huh.
So he let him go.
You see that? So Yahweh didn't deal with the woman. It was her who was the opposition to the circumcision. Yahweh held him and sought to kill him. He then brought it to her. Then she did it. After she did it, Yahweh let him go. You see that equation? Yahweh brought the fire to him. So he didn't have patience for no reason. He had patience because he didn't want to deal with her. He know that he has married a foreign woman and she does not like this circumcision. So sometimes we exercise patience because it's in our best interest to be patient. So one thing we run into, another thing we're going to be patient. But that patience is only because we don't want to deal with the fire that comes with that. But let us, go ahead, brother, you got something?
I was just looking at the whole situation because she jumps into action. So that means she been knew what needed to be done.
Of course she been.
And then you see at the end, like you say, it saved him. So that means you put my life in jeopardy all this point up onto this point.
Right.
Now, you jumped in to save me, but damn it, you the one caused this.
Right. Ain't no doubt about it. He knew that too, but here's the thing. He helped her put his life in danger. Mm-hmm. He knew that he was dealing with Yahweh. He knew that Yahweh don't play. But he's being patient with some things. See, that's us. We want to have peace sometimes that we create war. You want to have peace with Sugar Knuckle, but you making war with Yahweh. You better figure out who the hell you want to fight. See, I learned that when I was little. When my mama's son said, all right, you can either fight them or you can fight me. Which one of us you gonna fight? I was more afraid of my mama's son than I was of them. So it's time to go fight them. At some point, you got to figure out something. You want to fight about righteousness? Or you want to fight the king of righteousness? You better learn how to pick your fight. You better learn how to pick your fight. I'm going home. Baby, I got bad news. What happened? We ain't gonna have no peace tonight. What you saying? I'm saying we about to engage in a holy fight. Either I do this or Yahweh gonna do me. So, here it is. This fight I gotta win right here. Now this fight might take 1 hour. It might take 1 year. But we're gonna scrap until I win. Because I got to win for my Elohim. See, he don't care what color the drapes is. He don't care what color we paint the house. This thing he care about. I can't lose this. So what I'm telling you is tonight about to be a long night, baby. Won't you go on and get you something to eat? Make sure you're hydrated. Because this is about to be an argument of arguments. This is going to go on many different levels. So, but I can't go back to my Elohim with an L. I can't go back to him on this. And I can't make you happy and make him happy. Both of y'all not going to be happy today. And I'm telling you who not going to be happy today. And baby, that's you. But I love you, baby. I truly do. But today ain't your day. What? Today ain't your day. Tomorrow gonna be better. Let us hear the conclusion of this matter. Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 9.
And Elisha the prophet called one of the children of the prophets and said unto him, Gird up your loins and take the box of oil in your hand and go to Ramoth Gilead. And when you cometh thither, look out there Jehu the son of Jehoshaphat the son of Nimshi, and go in and make him arise up from among his brethren and carry him to an inner chamber. Then take the box of oil and pour it on his head and say, Thus says Yahweh, I have anointed you king over Israel. Then open the door and flee and tarry not.
See, there's sometimes that patience is not something that you should have. He has been given instructions. Anoint him. If you hear the oil hit the ground, you've been there too long. Pour the oil on his head. If that oil hit the ground, you should already be covering the heel. You better I'm telling you, I'm anointing this individual. And pure hell is coming as soon as the oil comes out of the container. Do not tarry. There are certain situations that we have to know this is one of them situations where you must move. But you got to know when the difference is. You got to know when you moving of your own accord and when you moving because you have been directed by the Spirit. Go ahead.
So the young man, even the young man the prophet, went to Ramoth Gilead. And when he came, behold, the captain of the host were sitting. And he said, I have an errand to you, O captain. And Jehu said, On to which of all us? And he said, To you, O captain. And he arose and went into the house. And he poured the oil in his head and said unto him, Thus says Yahweh Elohim of Israel, I have anointed you king over the people of Yahweh, even over Israel. And you shall smite the house of Ahab your master.
Now look at what he's been anointed to do now. He's been anointed, but he's been anointed to do some damage. Go ahead.
That I may avenge the blood of my servants the prophets, and the blood of all the servants of Yahweh at the hand of Jezebel. For the whole house of Ahab shall perish, and I'll cut off from Ahab him that piss against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel. And I'll make the house of Ahab like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha the son of Ahiah. And the dogs shall eat Jezebel and the portion of Jezreel, and there shall be none to bury her. And he opened the door and fled.
There it is. Took care of that business. He took care of that business. I'm going to be here long enough. I see the oil running. Look at it. And then Yahweh said, and then you're going to do what? Wait a minute, that oil is going fast. And then, all right, I'm out. There's some situations that you don't even be there long enough. See, I learned one thing about club life. Most of the problems happen at the after party. Mm-hmm. I learned real quick. I don't go to a whole lot of those. See, when you hang around after certain events, this is where you start getting into a lot of mess. And it also matters what kind of, stuff you went to go hang out at. See, you can't hang out at a gangster rap party and think it ain't gonna be no gangsters there. See, you didn't go to hear Mozart. So you gotta understand what's hanging out after this is over. Right. So this is something that we even though we read this book and there are things that we know are going to come to pass, there are things which are inside of those things. There are milestones that we have to reach. We have to patiently do those things. And we have to make sure that we don't jump in Yahweh's business along the way. If he loves you, he will very nicely ask you to step out of his business. When he nicely asks you to step out of his business, you may still be sore for a month. That was him being nice. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.